So next, I'd like to invite to the podium LM supporters, Legal Momentum supporters, and tag team partners, Aiming High co-chair Deborah McWhinney, and Legal Momentum supporter Suni Harford, who will jointly introduce our next honoree. Debbie, Suni.
So Barbara is so special to both Suni and me. We had to arm wrestle, and so we decided to kind of break this up. So I'm going to start my remarks by calling attention to all the young mid-career women and men in this audience. It is so important that you realize that all of the honorees have families, are involved in their community, and are fabulous professionals. You too can have it all. So just look at these women and men. So Barbara and I began our career almost 40 years ago, and it was in San Francisco working for Bank of America. And when I think about Barbara, I must say I wish her husband Mark could be here today, because he too was a great colleague and friend, and I guess he decided to stay in California, although we have really great weather. So when I think of Barbara, there are three things that come to my mind. First of all, she is a professional no matter what happens. Secondly, she's unflappable. And for those of you who have followed Barbara's career, you know there are moments when she probably could have been less than unflappable. And she is dedicated. Anything she takes on, her word is worth gold. And that's so important. So over the course of the career, when we worked together, we went through some major dramas. You say, well, you know, when someone's being groomed to be an executive, what makes them that way? It's the tough stuff that happens. It isn't the good stuff. Let me give you some examples. In the mid-'80s, familiar, Bank of America was almost taken over by the government because of financial problems. Barbara was on the executive floor, and literally for a few years, we were month by month working through the situation, and it was hard, and she always kept a smile on her face and determined to help calm the waters. The West Coast, where we both worked, had our fair share of drama. We had the '89 earthquake. You think of it as the World Series earthquake. We had the Rodney King riots, we had fires, we had more earthquakes, we had countless mergers, and through it all, no matter what job Barbara had at the company, she kept a smile on her face. She was dedicated to the company, she was dedicated to her family, she was always a friend, and no matter what job Barbara had or no matter what job I had, I was able to call Barbara and she would help. And that's a trait of someone who's a true leader. So on behalf of several of Barbara's former colleagues, including Dick Rosenberg, Richard Davis, and Barbara Fallon Walsh, I want to congratulate Barbara.
And that's where we left her. As Deb says, Barbara had a phenomenal career at B of A and other firms before that. And that's where we found her home after a phenomenal career. But like all things, you never truly know the extent of your reach or the effect you've had on people. And so it was with Barbara. She got the call from then CEO at Citibank, Jean McQuaid. She has a great story about discussing Citi's offer to her with her family. Everything was fine. They'd all readjusted to mom being at home. Mom doesn't work anymore. This is cool. Things were really settled in, and things were pretty darn good. And then her daughter looked at her and said, Mom, are you kidding me? You have always wanted to be the CEO. And so now she is. Barbara is the CEO of Citibank NA. She's also a member of our board of directors. Citibank NA, in case you get lost in all the legal mumbo-jumbo of the legal entities, is 75% of Citigroup's assets globally, 95 countries. You get the picture. In addition to her CEO responsibilities, Barbara leads Citigroup's, ready for this, comprehensive capital analysis and review process, which is AKA CCAR. For those of you in the room that are financial folks, you know exactly what that is. This is the role nobody wants. Leave it to a chick to take it on, right? For those of you that are not in financial services and don't know what CCAR is, when we get it wrong, that's what all the headlines are about. Absolutely critical. But wait, there's more. She's also recently assumed the oversight responsibilities for our anti-money laundering programs across Citigroup. So talk about the most powerful woman in banking. Without those two programs going well, Citi is absolutely nothing. In the spirit of aiming high, I note that Barbara is also the co-head of Citigroup's Global Women's Initiative, City Women. I had the pleasure of working with Barbara as her co-chair, and though I have since passed the baton, I'm so excited to now follow her as she takes the entire effort to great new heights, and by that I mean the C-suite and our board of directors. Barbara has been and continues to be a tremendous advocate for women, not just within Citigroup, but across our industry. Ladies and gentlemen, we give you Barbara Desoer.
Thank you, Deb and Suni, and really appreciate it. I'm truly humbled and honored to be here and to be receiving this award from Legal Momentum today, and to be among all the honorees who are here. A very special day for all of us. I'm here because of opportunities and choices that I've made that have given me the opportunity to have an incredible, incredible career in financial services, and it's something that I'm very proud of. And part of that is that the workforce at both of the great companies that I've had the opportunity to work for are greater than 50% women. So the ability to participate in helping as many of them as possible achieve their aspirations and goals has been the most satisfying part of my career. I'm very happy to be here celebrating the work of Legal Momentum, which is so important in its efforts to ensure economic and personal security for all women, and to enable them to get more access to the conditions, the opportunities, and the support that enable each and every one of them who choose to achieve their full potential. The work just isn't critical for women, though. It's also critical to ensuring that our workplaces, our families, our neighborhoods, our country, our society all reach their full potential. On average, 62% of women work versus 80% of men. Average female labor force participation has flatlined over the last 20 years. There are a lot of demographic changes happening here in this country and globally, and research from my colleague and chief political analyst at Citi, Tina Fordham, shows that greater female labor force participation, both in developed and emerging economies, could drive productivity, reduce the economic drag of adverse demographics, and substantially improve the skill mix of the global economy. And closing the gender gap in labor market participation could add 12% to OECD GDP, and that's significant given the anemic growth rates that we're seeing in GDP globally. So I think we can all agree that there are social and there are economic implications to closing the gender gap, and it can be profound, as I said, for both emerging and developed economies. Through its business, its global workforce, and its philanthropic efforts, I'm pleased to be part of Citi and the role that it plays in economically empowering women, and I'm proud to be part of these efforts with so many of my teammates. We know there's much more to be done, and organizations such as Legal Momentum are helping to accelerate the pace. Thanks again. I'm deeply grateful for this honor and very pleased to be here today. Thanks.